So, Mama, I've got a question for you. Exactly how tall is the stack of books that you've been waiting to read? And when is the last time that you have read a book to completion? Today, we are going to turn over a new leaf. Stay tuned. Hi, Krista here. And today I want to jump into why I am committing to reading 50 books in 2024. Now, this idea started off, I saw another YouTube video, which I will link below. And this gentleman was committing to read one book a week. So 52 books in a year. And that was very challenging to me because I'm sure, just like most of you, I have a massive stack of books that I've been wanting to read for ages. And it really just grows because I haven't been whittling it down really that much. And I feel like every other week I find another book to add to the list. So I actually have a stack here at our home, but then I also have an entire Amazon shopping list of books that I want to buy and read at some point in the future. And when I even saw the title of that YouTube video, I'm like, that's it. That is so motivating to me because we can find the time for what we prioritize. If there's something that needs to be prioritized and we haven't been able to find room in our schedule, we need to reprioritize some things. And there is so much information in these books that would benefit me, my family, and my home. I need to do it. I need to prioritize the improvement of myself and my family. Now, Krista, why 50 instead of 52? Well, I am a very type A, rigid, black and white, regimented sort of person, which has played very interesting in motherhood. It's been a learning curve. But I knew, and this might be a me thing, this might not be a big deal for you, but if I did 52, it would be, that's kind of a random number outside of the one book a week idea. So what that would be doing if I did 52 is that would be tying me in my head to a book a week, which means at any point at the end of a week, if I had not finished a book, I would be beating myself up and feeling rush. And then also I would be tempted if I had a shorter book and I finished before a week to kind of chillax for a bit. And it didn't seem to work into the flexible vibe that is motherhood. So I decided on a nice even number of 50 so I can detach it from the week to week. But then also I can be doing multiple books at a time. So like most times during my quiet time in the morning, I have the Bible or maybe a devotional book on top of that I'm working through. But then I read one chapter of another book, and it is usually a Bible or Christian-based book that is directing me to Christ, either just in my spiritual walk or in my marriage or in motherhood. Definitely very Christ-centered material. And I try to read one chapter a day of whatever book. But then at the same time, I'm always, during the day, I have a reading time blocked off. And then just in my free moments, I'm working on a different book that is more, not necessarily Christ-centered, maybe more just educational, business related, whatever else the case may be. And then also there's going to be hectic days, holidays and things or hectic weeks, holidays and things like that, where I might not get a full book read. But then there's also going to be a vacation time or whatever, where I might get, 2 or 3 books read. And so for me, it just detached from the week to week and just set this overarching goal that I accomplished with the ebb and flow of life. Okay, so I think the first thing to cover is reasons why. Why on earth would you want to read 50 books in a year, Krista? Well, I think the first reason is that as a stay-at-home mom, our role is very entrepreneurial in nature, where we are our own boss during the day. We determine how effective we are at our role, and that everyone else under us, kids and all, home, how effective they are in their role. We also have to self motivate, self educate, and set our own goals to achieve, determine how high our standards are going to be. The best way I have found to not only excel in this role, but to continuously be motivated to improve and to continuously have ideas on how to improve is by continuously educating myself. And I have not found a better way to do that than to dig into good books. Reason number 2 is to up your value, your personal value. Just when I think about, I desire to be an asset to my family, to my home, to my friends, to the world, which sounds very lofty, and it might be in, a small degree in picture of the world. But the more knowledge I give myself, the more I improve myself, the more I motivate myself, the more of an asset I will be to anyone that I interact with. And that can be, again, you're more beneficial when raising your children. You're a bigger asset to your husband as his wife. You are a bigger asset to your friends if they are seeking out wisdom that you've been able to gain from all of this learning that you've been doing. And maybe you have a business and you're a bigger asset to your customers, your clients, because you know more. You've been learning. Number 3 is I desire to instill in my children a love of reading. And there is no better way to do that than to show them that mommy loves to read too. Lead by example, y'all. Lead by example. Number 4 is to stay open-minded. Now, don't get me wrong. There are absolute truths in this world, all of which are found in scripture. And so if anything I'm reading contradicts scripture, it's out. And I'm not saying be open-minded about what God says. What God says is what God says. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. We believe what God says. But there's things that are not laid out in scripture, but we have preconceived notions about. And I have found it to be incredibly enlightening how many preconceived notions I have by reading books. And I start off the book and I'm like, And then the more I get into the book, I'm like, wait, why did I disagree with that? I don't even know why I had an opinion against that, but this person's really making a lot of sense. And it just keeps reminding me to be humble and to always check, where is this idea coming from? Is it based on anything? And is it even accurate? Very important as you are training up children in the way they should go and trying to lead them by example, that you're not leading them down a false path. And number 5 is to remain intentional and to prevent us from becoming stagnant. And I've kind of mentioned that a bit already, but it's just intentionality in every moment of motherhood is the key to success and productivity and running this race well. And having this intentional of a learning and self-improvement goal is like the epitome of, I am going to be intentional with this upcoming year and every moment I've been given in it. All right. The next thing to cover is how, because this is a very lofty goal, is it not? And I have been increasing my reading habits over the past couple years, but I'm going to say this is a leap. This is a pretty big leap. And so, but in the video that I got the idea from, I'm linking down below, this gentleman actually got down into the nitty gritty of, average page numbers. Then again, you're not going to want to get an epic novel or anything, because it's just not going to happen in a week. It's it's going to throw off your numbers quite a bit. And so if that is something you want to do, a book you've really been wanting to read is really big, you might want to knock down your goal. Maybe, if you have one really big book, maybe now shoot for 48 books or 47 books, or, play that out, but, keep it reasonable. But he's saying if you work in the average 150 to 250 range, then actually looking down how fast the average person reads, in how much they read in a minute, and then how much that is in pages, your average font size, yada, yada, yada. It equates to read a book a week. The average, educational book a week is 30 minutes a day. So I shoot for 30 to 45 minutes of reading a day, which when you think about the fact that after a year, I will have read 50 books. And then next year I would have read 50 more. Year after that, add up to 150. I mean, there's going to be so much benefit for every area of my life for just 30 to 45 minutes a day. I can do that, right? Yeah, I can do that. So in saying that, it is also important to plan ahead. Don't just say, yeah, I can do 30 minutes a day. No. When? What block during the day is going to be your reading block? And now I've spoken in previous videos of the importance of reading in front of your children. Again, lead by example. But I would suggest that 30-minute block to be during alone time, so that it can be focused. It doesn't matter if you're allotting 30 minutes to reading. You're not going to be finishing the book in time if that 30 minutes is continuously interrupted. So make it that 30-minute block, make that a time that you can focus. And then also, again, even if you're not as type A as I am, don't get glued to the book a week. The gentleman who I got this idea from, he's not a stay-at-home mom. And so there's a lot more predictability and consistency in his routine. And so there's ebb and flows in our life. There's new seasons our kids enter. You might be going through a pregnancy or newborn or a move, or, entering a new curriculum of homeschool, and just all the things. And we need to be able to not put the week by week pressure on ourselves that we have to finish a book this week. Okay, now it's a new week and I have to finish this book, and it's a new week and I have to finish this book. To me, it's use every moment wisely, set aside the 30 to 45 minutes, and work your way towards the ultimate goal. And then in that same area, I've kind of already alluded to this, but in addition to the 30 and 45 minutes throughout, and that's during focus time, throughout the day, while I'm with my kids, in the spare moments, maybe they're having a great time playing in their room, and I'm taking 5 minutes to just sit down and read a few pages. Or maybe we're at the park and they're playing on the playground, and I play with them for a little bit, and then I sit down and I read a few pages. Or maybe we are at a doctor's appointment and we're having to wait in the waiting room for a few minutes. And any of those moments where you pull out your phone and scroll, put away your phone and pull out your book. And it might just be a page or two here or there, but it will add up, and it will be the moment of setting an example for your kids. All right, so final question. What am I reading? Well, I'm going to be linking my list below, but obviously that is a very personalized list for areas that I would like to grow. Some of them are very personal. I'm just kind of putting it all out there. But they also hit the different areas that are applicable to my life, where even with all of us, I'm assuming being moms, and a good chunk of us being stay-at-home moms, and also a good chunk of us being Christian moms, there's still a lot of areas where our lives differ. And so I'm not saying this is the list you should read, but it can give you some ideas, and even just some areas of life that maybe you hadn't thought of covering before. So the areas that I would say my books cover are marriage, mothering, homeschooling, nutrition, homekeeping, business, and my Christian walk. And these are books that it actually was very quick to make this list because again, there's books I've been wanting on my list to read that are going to have to happen next year because I had more than 50 books lined up waiting to read. So this was a very quick list to develop. For you, it might be more research, and that's fine. It's not like you have to come up with the whole list right now. You can develop the first 6 months and then just keep researching as you go. All right, so I'm going to have the link below to my book list for ideas and direction. Also, if any of this seems overwhelming, finding the time to read snippets during the day, finding that 30 to 45 minute time block, even determining what areas of your life and where to start with on learning and improving yourself. I would encourage you for just $7 a month to check out my Overwhelmed Mommy Club. It is a 10-module course. I walk you through step by step how to take the chaos of your home and turn it into peaceful productivity. It also includes a members-only Facebook group where we can interact and encourage each other, and a members-only podcast where I take questions and concerns throughout the month, and I create an in-depth training and Q&A every single month. And that, again, just $7 a month. Well, that's all I've got for today. But before you go, I've mentioned throughout this video of the importance of teaching your kids a love for reading. And I think a big way to do that is to be that personal example by developing that love of reading in yourself. But there's a lot more ways to do it. And if you would like to learn more about that, there should be a video popping up on the screen where I dive into the step-by-step of how I taught my kids a true love for reading, which I believe is one of the best ways to set them up for life. Well, that's all I've got. But thank you for listening. And remember, I'm always here if you need me. Bye.